Hi everyone, I'm Lunaa. This is probably the video many of you have been waiting for on my channel, which is about Aaron Beauregard's book, Playground. Initially, I planned to combine both Playground and Playground Child of Divorce, but after researching, I found that Playground Child of Divorce is just a prequel to Playground and has no connection to the main story, so I decided to separate them into two distinct videos to avoid confusion. And before we get to the video, as usual, this video contains extremely violent content, unsuitable for some viewers, so please consider carefully before watching. Furthermore, this video does not endorse any particular parent or attack any organization. If you feel uncomfortable watching the clip, please turn it off immediately. If you still want to continue, we hope you enjoy the video. First, let's look at the characters. We have Geraldine Borden, an old woman who wishes to select a single child to inherit her entire fortune, and the selection process involves participating in a playground she has created. To assist her, she has two other helpers, Adolfo Fuchs and Rock Stanley. Adolfo Fuchs was both a collaborator and the person who brought Geraldine's idea to life. Rock Stanley, a tall, muscular man weighing over 120 kilograms and 1.90 meters, is terrified of Geraldine. Geraldine adopted Rock when he was a child, expecting to receive warmth from a woman, but instead, Rock received a series of hellish days. Rock's job is to find families to participate in Geraldine's Playground project. Playground is a project under the name of the charity organization, Hearts of Compassion, aiming to create the most ideal childhood experience for children. Next, we have three households. Clark's family consists of her mother, Caroline Clark, and her son, Donnie Clark. Caroline is an abusive mother who even uses a dog leash to tie Donnie up. Donnie is a depressed child who never communicates with anyone and only does what his mother tells him to do. Simply put, his tongue was cut off. Next is the Grimley family, consisting of Father Tom Grimley, who has just lost his job, Mother Molly Grimley, Isaac, 10 years old, Samantha or Sam, 8 years old, and Sadie, 7 years old. Molly was extremely excited about the playground project that Rock introduced, even though her family would receive a large financial grant for participating. Despite her worries about the possibility of a scam, Tom still followed Molly's advice. The eldest son, Isaac, very much like Dekisugi from Doraemon, calm, intelligent, and more mature than his peers, but he's not very good at sports and is skinny, so he's often bullied by his two younger brothers. Next are Sam and Sadie, who have exactly the same personality. Although Sam is the older sister, she often imitates Sadie's mischievous antics and bullies her older brother. Finally, there's the Matthew family, consisting of Father Greg Matthew and Mother Lacey, older brother Bobby, CJ, only sister Tanya, and youngest sibling Kip. Greg is a competitive father who wants his son to become a baseball player because he failed in his youth. Lacey is a mother who is afraid of her husband. Bobby is exactly like his father, but Greg hates Bobby because Bobby is passionate about skateboarding instead of baseball. Bobby also hates CJ because CJ is the one their father favors. CJ is favored by his father, but unlike his father, he is very kind, has his own opinions, and thinks of others. Tanya, although the only daughter, is treated the same way as her mother because she wants to learn to swim, but in Greg's eyes, swimming is utter nonsense. Tanya even gave her mother a bracelet to win her favor, but because they are poor and Greg refuses, she never gets to learn to swim. Finally, Kip is forced by his father to pursue a professional baseball career that he himself failed to achieve, and Kip is obligated to obey his father. Kip is also very close to Bobby. Okay, now let's get to the main story. Geraldine was now cursing Rock for inviting Caroline's family without telling her. She didn't like a family with one parent and one child. And there weren't enough children for her, 9 children. Rock considers himself a terrible son, both to his parents and to Geraldine. These self-deprecating remarks stem from Geraldine's cruel upbringing, her bitter words carefully instilled in him, leading him to believe he is worse than an animal. Geraldine had an unhappy childhood that left her obsessed with the number 9 because her maternal grandmother had 9 children and her mother also had 9 children. But when her mother fell ill, she was the only one who stayed by her mother's side. Now, in her old age and frail health, she still longs for someone to be by her side and worthy of inheriting her fortune. Rock is subjected to Geraldine's deceit and manipulation in various ways, such as pressing an iron against his chest and evoking painful memories of the corpse of his maid, Wanda. Geraldine claims this will be the last time Rock sees Wanda, but the real last time is when Rock is forced to dispose of Wanda's body in an unimaginable way, or even worse, forcing Rock into humiliating acts that are too disturbing to describe. Geraldine's condition is described in grotesque detail, but I'll spare you those descriptions. I swear, reading this far, I was shocked to see that I was only on page 45 of 320. What else is there? In her villa, there was a room covered in countless mirrors, and the room is filled with disturbing objects reflecting Geraldine's obsession attached to it. And so she began practicing yoga with it. In her days, she recalled her childhood at age 7. Geraldine developed an unhealthy obsession with her mother after witnessing traumatic events in her household. The story went even further when Geraldine's obsession eventually extended to every aspect of her mother's life. Returning to the story, after Matthew and Grimley's family arrived, Geraldine, Fuchs and Rock all came out to greet them. After explaining everything and showing the playground's safety certifications, both families agreed and went inside. In this playground, parents are kept separate from their children to ensure 100% of the children's innocence and curiosity are fostered. Of course, parents can observe from their rooms and there are microphones for communication, but it must be kept to a minimum. When the children were brought onto the playground, Isaac and Bobby clashed implicitly. Bobby hated the snobbish, bookish type like Isaac, while Isaac knew perfectly well that Bobby wasn't a good person, a cold-blooded predator. From the parents' perspective, the room they are taken to is described as a modern movie theater, where they can observe their children through large, incredibly sharp screens. Geraldine instructed the parents to relax a little by leaning back in their chairs, closing their eyes, and breathing slowly and evenly. While everyone followed Geraldine's instructions, Lacey, engrossed in the bracelet her daughter had given her, accidentally dropped it. As she leaned forward to pick it up, a heavy metallic sound rang out. 2 metal rods suddenly appeared, gripping the necks of 4 parents, or rather 3. Due to Lacey's leaning posture, the rods had sliced across her neck, right at the carotid artery, fatally injuring Lacey. Geraldine ignored Greg's curses and sarcastically put the bracelet back on Lacey. She explained that each bracelet had a button. Pressing it gave them a few seconds to communicate with the children, and they only had one chance, so they should ensure their children lived as long as possible. On the children's side, they were playing together. This reminded Rock of his unfulfilled dreams, the innocence and freedom of doing what he wanted, which had been taken away by that old woman and replaced with bitter words. The mixture of his unfulfilled dreams and Geraldine's sick demands made Rock increasingly afraid of Geraldine. While lost in thought, the doorbell rang. The club family had arrived. Rock went to greet them, but upon seeing Caroline abusing her child, tying him up with a dog leash, Rock immediately saw an image of himself. Without hesitation, he punched Caroline, even knowing that Geraldine would punish him. He couldn't forgive Caroline and had to save Donnie. Rock violently overpowered Caroline before rescuing Donnie. Then he took good care of Donnie, and although he felt sorry for the boy, he was still afraid of Geraldine, so he had to take him inside. Okay, that's a brief overview of the beginning. Now let's delve into the details of each game. The first game was called the Razor Slide. True to its name, inside the first room the kids entered was a giant slide with continuous twists and turns, leading straight down into an earthen cage. To force the kids down the slide, Rock released 2 Doberman dogs, this one here, to compel everyone to go down. Only Isaac was injured. Luckily for him, CJ came to his rescue in time, Otherwise, one would have been out of the game. At the top of the slide was a riddle that read, "After falling, don't get up, don't look at anything, use your ears and the ball." While everyone was still stunned, Fook moved the wall behind them to push them all into the slide, in order: Sam, Sadie, Tanya, Bobby, Kip, Donnie, Isaac, and finally CJ. Reading this, I didn't quite understand why all the strong young men were letting the women go first. Anyone who understands, please comment and let me know. Back inside the tunnel, at the bends, barbed wire was strategically placed, causing everyone to scream and feel excruciating pain. Then, they fell into a gym with many stone pillars. At the front of the room was a neon sign indicating the exit. Next to a brightly colored ball pit, CJ was trying to calm everyone down when suddenly there was a whooshing sound. CJ was lucky to dodge it. And that's the second game, baseball and hangman. The riddle from the first game was just a reminder for the kids in the second game. Opposite the main exit door were 5 high-speed baseball launchers. After a struggle, they finally reached the exit. Next to the baseball pit was the next game, hangman, a colorful pool of balls, with the hangman in the middle and a puzzle to be solved behind it. The hanging dummy emitted unpleasant groans, making Sam terrified. She couldn't bear it any longer and ran straight to the exit door. Sadie followed her sister, and boom! A huge explosion erupted inside the escape tunnel. Sadie and the others ran to Sam to save her, who was caught in the blast. When the tunnel ceiling began to collapse, and you know what happened, no magic involved. Just as they managed to drag Sam to the door, the ceiling slammed shut. On the parents' side, of course, Geraldine had already told Fook to zoom in on the scene so Tom and Molly could see it. After all that, they struggled to get the doll down because they needed its fabric to bandage their wounds. Sadie angrily used the knife in the doll's hand to repeatedly stab the contents out. A swarm of fire ants, a key, and a piece of paper that read, "Follow the instructions or you will all be logged out." He flipped the lever on the left side of the pool. A pink sign indicated a key was waiting. Without hesitation, they flipped the lever and immediately a keyhole appeared on the exit sign. A smart person like you would know that the key was meant to be inserted into that keyhole. A door slowly opened. In the parents' room, the screen suddenly went black, forcing Rock to go into the control room to inform Geraldine and Fook. Tom and Molly continued discussing their plan to try and convince Rock, as that was their only option. When Rock entered the control room, Geraldine berated him for leaving the parents alone, explaining that the black screen was due to her preparing to change scenes, not a malfunction. Rock was then severely scolded by her. He was furious and wanted to fight back, but hesitated. Returning to the children, the next game was hopscotch, but it was played while a giant meat grinder was underneath. The layout was as follows: 3 consecutive odd-numbered squares numbered 1, 2, and 3, followed by 2 squares numbered 4 and 5, then a square numbered 6, above which were squares 7 and 8, and finally square number 9. A short distance from square number 9 was the word heaven, but, well, nothing normal was in there. Between the angel square and square number 9 are 2 enormous slides pointing towards the player. You'll find out what happens next. Behind the heaven square is a door with the words hell and numerous satirical images of angels. The rules of the game are as follows. Forget the previous game and play hopscotch. Losing this one will be a nightmare. Ahead lie countless challenges and dangers. If you want to see your parents again, complete this game. Be careful, one wrong step and you're dead. In this game, heaven and hell are one and the same. Donnie was the first player. He easily reached the angel square, but just as he was about to jump back, CJ noticed the hopscotch section on the ceiling pressing down. CJ immediately jumped to squares 4 and 5 first to save Donnie. Thanks to his physical prowess, CJ easily reached squares 4 and 5 first, balanced on both feet, and then picked up Donnie and jumped towards the angel square, saving both of them. The others also started jumping in turn: Sadie, Tanya, Isaac, Kip, and Bobby. Sadie and Tanya passed easily, but when it was Isaac's turn, he heard the grinding sound of millstones and the mooing of cows. It turned out the 2 slides between square 9 and heaven were meant to hinder them. The moment Isaac jumped into the angel square, a stream of blood, bones, and internal organs erupted from both sides, causing Kip to lose his footing and sealing his fate. Bobby was the last to jump. He was angry that Isaac had caused Kip to log out, so after reaching heaven, he lunged at Isaac, cursing him for deliberately timing Kip's death. They all made peace and continued on to the gates of hell. The next game the group faced was the rocking horse and swings. It was a similar area to the earlier play area, but with two rides. One side had a two-seater swing, but it was designed to be higher than usual, and the other side had rocking horses in various shapes like hearts, brains, demons, mice, cockroaches, vampires, maggots, and a fly trap. Far in the distance was the door to the next game, but in the middle was a bottomless pit. The rules were as follows: 2 on the swings, the rest on the rocking horses. Use your brain. After some discussion, the group decided that Isaac and Sadie would sit on the swings, while CJ, Bobby, Donnie, and Tanya would ride the rocking horse. All 4 started rocking, and suddenly the room shook. The walls on either side suddenly opened, revealing 2 enormous axes swinging back and forth. The rocking horse began moving towards the door. At this point, we understand the rules of this game. The rocking horse moves towards the door based on the speed at which the 4 children rock, forcing them to dodge the moving axes. Meanwhile, on the swings, a blazing fire appeared beneath Isaac and Sadie, melting the swing seats. They had to gather momentum and leap through the door. Surprisingly, they all survived this game, just this one game. Meanwhile, Tom and Molly also convinced Rock to reveal his next plan so they could save the children, including Donnie. Rock was moved by this, and he felt he needed to do something he had never done before to prevent Donnie from becoming himself. So he decided to take a risk and betray Geraldine. The next game was the horizontal bar. The room's structure was extremely complex, so listen carefully. There would be a horizontal bar suspended over a very deep pit, below which were countless wriggling snakes. On the other side of the bar were 2 slides, nearly 5 meters high, reminding everyone of how the first game had ruined their spirits. At this moment, Molly used her support to announce that the bar was a trap. It was lubricated and extremely smooth, so climbing on it was impossible. Therefore, they should climb on it instead. Hearing her mother's voice, Sadie immediately started crying and demanding to go home. Geraldine, still in the observation room, didn't suspect Rock of betraying her and ignored the situation because at least Tanya was still alive. From the beginning, she had targeted Tanya because she saw her ability to plan and coordinate with CJ, making her believe that this girl was completely worthy of being her daughter. She only saw the other boys as stepping stones to help Tanya develop her talents. She saw them as no different from Rock, the one she was too fed up to even talk about. Thanks to Molly, the group easily overcame the monkey bars and stood before a nearly 5-meter-high staircase. While they were hesitating, the ground behind them began to rise from the pit, causing snakes to slowly approach them. Panicked, they all scrambled up the slide, and Bobby inadvertently climbed onto the same side as Isaac and Sadie. It was clear as day that this wasn't a normal slide. Saw blades were constantly moving up and down the slide. With his brilliant mind, Isaac calculated the saw blade's cycle to be about 4 seconds. Without hesitation, he tried it out while it was still hot. This made Sadie cry, but luckily Isaac successfully passed. Next came Donnie, Tanya, CJ, Sadie, and finally Bobby. But just as it was Sadie's turn, Greg suddenly spoke up, telling Bobby to get revenge for Kip. Finally, after months of being hated by his father, Bobby got his chance to prove himself. He lunged at Sadie, who hadn't even realized what was happening. He pushed Sadie down the slide as if he was surfing, a true masterstroke. This part is illustrated in the book showing how Sadie gets eliminated, not recommended to look it up. Greg was gloating, while Tom and Molly were probably about to go crazy. Isaac tried to intervene, but Bobby used the knife he'd stolen from the scarecrow at the hangman ride to stop Isaac. Now Bobby was like their dad. They just continued the game. The next game was the merry-go-round, this kind of Ferris wheel. A death wheel made of rotting wood and iron, suspended above a pool of concentrated acid, with a door on the other side that said "End." Even though we didn't know how to get to the other side, we all jumped onto the Ferris wheel first. The order was Tanya, CJ, Isaac, and Bobby. CJ would carry Donnie to ensure his safety. The Ferris wheel started to increase its speed. Suddenly, Isaac's handle broke, leaving him clinging to the platform. CJ couldn't save Isaac because he was carrying Donnie, so he asked Bobby for help. Bobby smiled and helped. So kind of Bobby. This guy was about to pull out a weapon and stab Isaac in the hand when Tom threatened his father Greg's life, making Bobby nervous. Greg then chimed in, telling him to go ahead, son. As the signal time ended, the weapon was impaled in Isaac's hand. Isaac knew he was about to die, so he tried to drag Bobby along with him. Both perished together in the acid pool. Tom and Molly were devastated. All their flesh and blood was gone. Greg just sneered, saying at least it was a 2-for-1. Back to the children, after much searching, a small path gradually emerged from the acid pool. This was incredibly difficult, their heads spinning, but Tanya, CJ, and Donnie all managed to get through. Anna wondered why Isaac and Greg's parents had spoken up, but her mother hadn't, and she was very worried about her. Putting aside their worries, they moved on to the final game, the seesaw. A rather unusual seesaw stood before them. It even had a soft, fabric-covered backrest. 2 white metal propellers covered the seesaw itself. Under each end of the seesaw was a massive spring, ensuring that whoever touched the ground first was practically doomed. As soon as the seat touched the ground, the spring would create a force that would send the player flying high into the air. There was also a red LED display showing 2 zeros. The rules were up, up, down, down until you reach 10, but not too high if you still want to see your parents. CJ was determined this would be the end of everything. He led Donnie to a corner of the room, and together they would win the game. Both sat on the seesaw and began the game. 1 point in this game isn't easy to earn, as only when the head of one side is extremely close to the propeller above counts as 1 point, and the seat suddenly shoots 2 hooks deep into Tanya and CJ, trapping them both in their seats. But the 2 of them coordinated perfectly from 2, 3, 4, 5. The nightmare began here. Beneath the seesaw, flames suddenly appeared as if from hell. Tanya, who was below, immediately jumped up because of the terrible heat, almost burning her. Luckily, CJ managed to restrain himself, but he wasn't much better off as his legs were also burned, earning him another point. The game continued with only 4 points left, but Tanya couldn't bear the heat from below and jumped up again. CJ, determined to win, stayed below to earn another point. Seeing her brother's legs now reduced to ashes, Tanya gritted her teeth and lifted him up, trying to endure the agonizing pain that was consuming her life. 8 points, but CJ was losing consciousness due to his severe injuries. He still tried to help Tanya gain another point. 9 points. Just 1 point away from victory, Tanya realized CJ had fainted, so she tried with all her might to lift him up. But the serious injuries caused her to involuntarily spring up, sending CJ plummeting to the ground. While she was about to hit the fan, refusing to give up, she used both feet to grip the seesaw tightly. Luckily, the system counted to 10, but then the luck ran out. The fan struck the backrest of the chair, sending Tanya tumbling to the ground, leaving only CJ sitting on the seesaw. He then leaped onto the spring below and bounced up with all his might. Once again, this scene has visuals, but they're so bad I can't upload them here. Tanya is distressed by the sight. She's no better off, as the propeller accidentally grazed her face earlier, and the fall just now caused her skin to get caught in the hook. Geraldine was delighted that she had trusted the right person, that Tanya would be her next child. Meanwhile, in the parents' room, Greg was furious that his superstar had longed out, but he still sarcastically remarked that he had another child. Rock was furious and wanted to punch Greg, but something unexpected happened. Molly and Tom begged him to spare the last 2 children, not for their lives, since their own children were gone, but for the children who were lucky enough to survive. This boundless parental love touched Rock deeply, and he made his final decision. And I certainly mentioned the final game earlier, but unfortunately there's nothing good about that one. This is the real final game. A room full of sand, with a pile of letters in the middle, and a long rope ladder reaching high up, topped with a glittering golden bell. The wall behind the ladder is covered in countless spikes, spaced a few centimeters apart. The rules are, forget about playing in the sand, ring the bell to receive a corresponding reward. Tanya had collapsed, too exhausted to continue. Donnie, no longer silent, used the letters in the sand to form words. I'll ring the bell, because you helped me. Just as Donnie was about to climb up, Rock intervened, signaling that the game was over and he would come to rescue the two kids. In the parents' room, Rock also unlocked Tom, Molly, and Greg. Fook and Geraldine rushed in. Fook fired a shot at Rock, but Rock was determined to beat them both to a pulp. Rock landed a few punches, knocking Fook unconscious. Rock was accidentally shot by Geraldine, leaving him stunned. Tom and Molly seized the opportunity to grab Geraldine, but Greg lunged at Tom and choked him, knocking him unconscious. Rock then engaged in a fight with Geraldine, and finally defeating Geraldine. Clearly, Rock still had one thing to do: put an end to the cause of his suffering. Rock chased after Geraldine despite his numerous wounds. Geraldine repeatedly begged Rock to stop, but Rock resolutely gave her a few punches, forcing her to leave. Finally, Tanya and Donnie were rescued, and all 5 of them made it to Geraldine's garden, where there was a playground. Rock completed his final mission and passed away peacefully on the sandy beach where he had always dreamed of playing as a child. The end. It's quite a long story, isn't it? It's easy to see that family is the most important factor in shaping and developing a child's personality to some extent. In the Grimley family, Isaac, Sadie, and Sam are all good children, thoughtful and caring towards others. But in Matthew's family, due to his extreme parenting style and his competitive nature, Greg created 2 children, Bobby and Kip, who only know how to bully those weaker than them. Why do I say created? Because for Greg, his children only serve to fulfill the dreams he couldn't achieve as a child. He criticized Tanya's weak swimming abilities, despised Bobby's stupid skateboarding, and insisted, and especially insisted, that his children play baseball because he himself had failed at it. As for the Clarks, I don't know why Caroline treated her son Donnie like an animal. And most importantly, there's Geraldine. She was raised by a sexually abusive mother, so she's no better herself. In fact, far worse. Remember, every child is born a blank page. It's the parents and the surrounding environment that add color to that page. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like and subscribe, as it motivates me to continue creating similar content. If there are any mistakes, please let me know in the comments. Have a great day.